tonight on CTV3 News. There was a home invasion in Carmelita. Suspects break in through the window and help themselves to electronics valued at more than $1,000. Tragic turn in Sarawee infant Kevin Emmanuel Jr.'s sudden death revealed to be caused by severe head trauma as police launch full investigation. And Prime Minister John Briceño expresses concern for Belizean students in Cuba. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Wednesday, February 11th, 2026.
From whiskeys and wines to elegantly crafted cocktails. Paired with charcuterie boards and perfectly seasoned steak bites, and much more. Perfect for celebrations, quiet nights, and every special occasion in between. 7 Notes Wine and Spirits, where every sip hits the right note.
ExpressNet now has up to 400 megabytes of high-speed internet. Choose the speed that fits you. From faster browsing to faster gaming. Connect more devices at once. Or bundle it with Express Plus and HBO Max. Internet and streaming entertainment, all in one.
Yeah, faster starts here.
Sign up today at any Centaur office or contact us to get started.
They got so much things to say right now. They got so much things to say.
The way some people are talking you'd never know, but the most blatant nepotism and fleecing of BTL took place under UDP when Dean Barrow was Prime Minister. Barrow placed his son Anwar on BTL's board in 2009 as soon as he nationalized the company, which would eventually cost Belizeans almost $650 million for shares barely worth $200 million. By 2014, Anwar was appointed executive chairman with extravagant salary and perks. Under him, BTL spent wildly on ventures that did not materialize and never brought any returns. Under the Barrows, BTL's profits plummeted from $38 million in 2009 to $17 million in 2019, and $10 million in 2020, as the company hardly paid dividends to government and people of Belize. Anwar Barrow has no moral authority to talk about BTL, as it was under his nepotistic rule, appointed by his father, that BTL was most blatantly fleeced.
They got so much things to say right now. They got so much things to say.
Good evening. With your news also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7. I am Joanna Rodriguez. We start off tonight's newscast reporting on a home burglary that occurred in the village of Carmelita, Orange Walk. The victims, a couple living at a residence located in an area known as Spanish Town. The break-in occurred on Monday afternoon despite the homeowners reportedly leaving their property securely locked earlier in the day. We understand that when they returned home at approximately 6:40 p.m., they discovered their home had been ransacked and a number of valuables have been stolen. Initial investigations indicate that the suspects gained entry by cutting through a window screen and removing 2 glass louvers. Inside, they made off with electronic items valued at approximately $1,200, including an HP laptop, a smart projector, speakers, and several power banks. Crime scene investigators arrived to gather evidence from the scene. As of now, no arrests have been made and police continue their inquiries into the break-in. In the south of the country, a heartbreaking case from Sarawee village has taken a disturbing new turn following the post-mortem results of 8-month-old Kevin Emmanuel Jr. The infant's death, initially reported as sudden and unexplained, has now been linked to severe head trauma caused by blunt force. The young child was found deceased under circumstances that prompted immediate police investigation. Recent medical examinations have confirmed that the injuries were not accidental or natural, leading authorities in the Stand Creek district to initiate a comprehensive inquiry into the circumstances surrounding the infant's passing. Officials are now working to establish how Kevin Emmanuel Jr. sustained the fatal injuries and are examining the possibility of criminal involvement. At this stage, officials have not released additional information as they continue their investigation. The police investigation is still active, with authorities striving to piece together the events that led to the tragic death of the infant. A recent public opinion survey conducted by political analyst Dr. Philip Castillo within the Dangriga constituency is revealing a landscape of considerable uncertainty ahead of the upcoming town council elections. The poll, titled One-Year Approval Ratings in Dangriga, surveyed residents of the constituency, which encompasses Dangriga town along with the villages of Hope Creek and Sarawee. With approximately 6,300 registered voters, the majority, around 86%, reside in Dangriga town, making local issues particularly influential in electoral outcomes. The survey results indicate that support for the current area representative, Dr. Louisa Bani, remains fragile. Only 41.8% of respondents approve of his performance, while 25.5% disapprove, and a significant 32.7% remain unsure. Notably, the polling suggests that his last major electoral victory may not accurately reflect his genuine popularity, as it occurred during a period when the opposition was internally divided. Some criticisms highlighted include difficulty reaching certain voters, the perception that he favors family and friends over the broader community, and a decline in support within Dangriga town and Sarawee. Conversely, support appears to be more resilient in Hope Creek. In addition to local dynamics, the survey sheds light on the emerging challenge posed by opposition candidate Ert Lopez, the United Democratic Party UDP caretaker. Lopez is gaining attention as a potential contender for the next general election, though voter opinions about her remain mixed. Many describe her as hardworking, dedicated, and compassionate, but a considerable portion of respondents admitted they do not yet know her well. Her rising profile introduces a new variable into the electoral calculus for the constituency. Additionally, those who participated in the survey were asked if they approved of the job the Prime Minister was doing, and the majority, 56.4%, responded with a no, while 21.8% said yes, and 21.8% were not sure. Today, Prime Minister John Briceño was asked for his reaction to the poll results. Here is what he had to say.
And that's okay. I mean, you should go and come with me when I go to Dangriga. For the 90th, I was there and everybody was greeting me very, very warmly. I am confident in the work that we're doing. But I think we can talk next year. We have municipal elections. I think that's the best gauge whether people believe that the PUP as a government, if we're doing a good job or not.
Do you see because when he was doing these polls, people were volunteering that they don't believe in the acquisition, they don't support it, sorry. Do you believe that you're losing political influence because this deal is on the table?
Well, first of all, remember that's not something that the government is doing. Something that BTL is trying to find a ways how they could continue to increase revenues and increase profits. But that is for something that's separate from the government, and that will work its way out. So I'm not concerned about it.
Coming up next, Cuba faces deepening crisis as power and fuel shortages disrupt daily life. Belizean students are also feeling the effects. Stay tuned.
There's a saying I often return to, and that is a Chinese saying that says, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. Today, Belize chooses now because Belize has always lived under the shade of the tree. Remember Sobumbre Floreo. Our forests, mangroves, rivers, and farms are not just features of our landscape, they are part of who we are as a people. They protect us from storms, feed our families, support livelihoods, and anchor our resilience in a changing climate. But we also know this truth. What we do not protect, we will eventually lose.
Greening Belize, 1 million trees for climate and sustainable development. Our forest cover is declining, especially after the fire season. What will be achieved? Restore and reforested lands, significant increase in hectares restored by 2035. Enhance carbon sequestration. We'll have improved data, mapping, and reporting systems with this. Institutional readiness, feasibility study and design for a national forestry incentive program, community mobilization, which will build capacity and increase participation nationally, and improve governance.
For all environmentally conscious individuals and groups, CBOs, NGOs, community organizations, universities, come in to do their part to plant trees to assist in the restoration initiative for the country of Belize.
They got so much things to say right now. They got so much things to say.
The way some people are talking you'd never know, but the most blatant nepotism and fleecing of BTL took place under UDP when Dean Barrow was Prime Minister. Barrow placed his son Anwar on BTL's board in 2009 as soon as he nationalized the company, which would eventually cost Belizeans almost $650 million for shares barely worth $200 million. By 2014, Anwar was appointed executive chairman with extravagant salary and perks. Under him, BTL spent wildly on ventures that did not materialize and never brought any returns. Under the Barrows, BTL's profits plummeted from $38 million in 2009 to $17 million in 2019, and $10 million in 2020, as the company hardly paid dividends to government and people of Belize. Anwar Barrow has no moral authority to talk about BTL, as it was under his nepotistic rule, appointed by his father, that BTL was most blatantly fleeced.
They got so much things to say right now. They got so much things to say.
As the island nation of Cuba grapples with a worsening energy crisis, many Cuban families now find themselves living with only a few hours of electricity each day. The country's ongoing struggles with fuel shortages and power outages have become a harsh reality, impacting education, communication, and transportation across the island. While fuel supplies have not yet entirely run out, strict government measures are now in effect to conserve dwindling resources. The recent sanctions by the United States have played a significant role in exacerbating Cuba's energy crisis. These sanctions have restricted oil shipments from Venezuela and Mexico and have discouraged other nations from supplying the island with fuel, leaving Cuba increasingly isolated in its effort to sustain basic services. The consequences of these shortages are stark. Electricity is available for only about 3 hours each day, after which homes and businesses are plunged into darkness. The energy crisis has also severely impacted the education sector. With power outages affecting schools, many institutions have had to suspend classes temporarily, with a number in the area of education. A number of Belizean students are furthering their studies in Cuba, and they are cause for concern at this time for the Briceño administration.
My heart, cries out for the people of Cuba, and I condemn what is being done to the people of Cuba. And I think there's no justification for what is being done to them. I could see you can have differences between governments, but when you take actions to be able to hurt people, I think that's something that we should all be very, very concerned. Any human being in the world, I hope that something that we worked on that be able, for instance, they've been shut off from getting oil in the country. And at that rate, probably sooner or later, we may have to consider whether the students are to come home or not. We have to ensure that they're safe and that their schools are operating and that they have access to food and the other necessities that they need.
How are we handling right now? Are they in want of anything thus far? I know the minister said that they're in consult with the embassy and the students.
Well, the embassy is always in contact with them, and every year I know there's some families try to raise funds to send a container load of goods for them. I always help, of course, and many other citizens. But our embassy is in constant communications with the kids and our students, your young men and women. And many times they could go there for the weekend, or if there's an activity, they go to the embassy. It is we feel that it is our responsibility to ensure that they're safe and that they can get the necessary food that they need and other things to be able to live comfortably in Cuba.
The escalating crisis underscores the profound economic and social challenges facing Cuba. Long-standing U.S. sanctions combined with internal economic struggles and the global energy market's instability have created a perfect storm that threatens the very fabric of daily life on the island. And with this in mind, CARICOM member countries will be discussing the current crisis in Cuba and send further assistance.
Well, we are going to have a heads meeting around the 25th, 24th, 25th, somewhere around there for February, and that's on the agenda. And I think that anything that we can do, any relief that we can give to the people of Cuba, I think we should do. I think we have a moral responsibility to be able to help.
Adding to the turmoil, Cuba recently informed airlines that it would be unable to supply jet fuel at several airports from February 11 through March 11. This announcement has led to widespread flight cancellations and disruptions, complicating travel plans for residents and international visitors alike. Senior public officers and key stakeholders are currently participating in a 3-day capacity building workshop on competition enforcement and fair trading reform hosted by the Directorate for Foreign Trade in Belmopan. The workshop is being convened by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade in collaboration with the CARICOM Competition Commission (CCC), the CARICOM Competition Secretariat, the Commonwealth Secretariat, and CARIFORUM. The initiative forms part of Belize's ongoing efforts to strengthen its foreign trade capacity and ensure compliance with Chapter 8 of the revised Treaty of Jaraguamas, which addresses competition policy within the CARICOM Single Market and Economy CSME. The training is designed to equip government officials, regulators, and other key stakeholders with the tools and knowledge necessary to actively contribute to the development of Belize's national competition law. Participants are being introduced to international best practices, regional case studies, and inclusive policy approaches aimed at shaping a modern, effective framework that protects consumers while fostering a fair and dynamic business environment. In her remarks to participants, Her Excellency Amalia Mai underscores the importance of strengthening Belize's economic governance architecture in line with its regional commitments.
And this is why today matters. For years, we have spoken about the importance of competition enforcement as part of Belize's obligations under CARICOM and as a pillar of our national development agenda. The fact that the room brings together senior leaders, regulators, policymakers, and development partners tells us that we are no longer preparing in isolation. We are moving forward together with shared ownership of the reform agenda. Over the next 3 days, you will engage with the pillars of our competition law, examine practical case values, and learn from practitioners who have navigated the very institutional challenges Belize is now preparing to address. These exchanges build common understanding among institutions and help translate policy commitment into operational capacity. What is especially powerful about gatherings like this is that they remind us that institutions are built by people, by collaboration, by shared learning, and by the willingness to work across mandates in pursuit of a common goal. This ministry firmly believes in the power of bringing people together because that is where momentum is created and reform becomes real. So today represents a key inflection point in Belize's journey towards a modern, effective competition regime. I want to thank our partners for their continued support and to thank each of you for the leadership and commitment you bring to strengthening Belize's regulatory landscape.
Honorable Marconi Leal Jr., Minister of State for Foreign Trade, also addressed the workshop, highlighting the government's commitment to deepening regional integration and enhancing Belize's participation in the CSME.
This journey did not begin yesterday. For more than 15 years, Belize has been recognizing the need for a modern competition framework through our regional and institutional commitments, through CARICOM's integration efforts and the economic partnership agreements signed over a decade and a half ago. Over that time, there has been steady work being behind the scenes, building internal capacity, strengthening technical understanding, training public officers, studying best practices across the region, learning from partners, and preparing for the moment when Belize would be ready to move forward meaningfully. And today that moment has arrived. It is now opportune that we bring together our external partners, regional institutions, and local stakeholders in a joint capacity building effort, one that will position us to work collectively to Belizeanize a competition framework that fits our needs. Because no model law can simply be copied and pasted onto Belize, our economy is distinct. Our market realities are unique, and our solutions must be grounded in our own experiences. Belizeanize means we design rules that protect competition while reflecting our context. A small market where relationships are close, where MSMEs must have a fair chance to grow, where consumers deserve choices and quality, and where investors need clarity and predictability to commit for long term. My own time in telecommunications taught me how interconnected modern economies have become. I saw this ambition to expand infrastructure and invest in connectivity. And I also saw that sustainable growth depends on institutions that are trusted, transparent, and capable of balancing innovation with fairness.
Sessions throughout the 3 days will explore the role of competition policy in protecting consumers, encouraging innovation, and preventing anti-competitive conduct such as cartels and abuse of dominance. Participants are also examining how competition principles can be embedded across government policy to support inclusive growth.
So the purpose of this workshop is to build some capacity among our sector regulators for the different economic sectors in Belize to allow us to better develop and position ourselves to localize a competition law for Belize. Now what that does for us, for the average Belizean, is it ensures that we have laws and regulations in place to make our markets fair, meaning to have dominant business suppliers and providers that take advantage of the market to ensure that consumers can get access to better prices, to get access to more choices, and for businesses to be encouraged to innovate much more so than they would if we have monopoly or dominant market situations.
Okay. And this is in reference to the entire CARICOM and the CSME, right?
Well, all the CSME member states, for the most part, have their own competition framework. Belize doesn't as yet, so we are developing our framework that can then integrate with the regional framework. So for us, it's really to set our national law in place, get our local authority in place, and start monitoring markets a lot better. I know, of course, everybody would recall some of the issues with the price gouging, which was all the rage coming out of COVID. Having your competition authority in place gives you an additional tool as a government to really monitor those markets to ensure that they're operating fairly and optimally for the benefit of the consumer, but also for the benefit of the business person. We do have a model bill in place, which CARICOM had helped to develop, maybe I think it was over 20 years ago. What has happened, however, is the bill hasn't been shopped around enough locally to get everybody's feedback, to get everybody comfortable with it, and to localize our concerns within the bill, because you don't want to just copy and paste the bill thinking it will work perfectly for your market. It's a model bill that gives you the basics that are necessary, but there are, in some cases, countries would carve out certain exceptions. Trinidad, for example, they remove financial services from the bill. So their central bank is the regulator in that case. Some countries remove telecommunications, they remove utilities, and they leave that with their utilities regulator. So it's really for us to take what's the model, adapt it to our local circumstances, and from that, we are then able to position ourselves to better regulate monetary markets and to provide more fairness for both businesses and consumers.
The training session is expected to wrap up on Thursday, after which continued dialogue is expected towards the creation of a robust and transparent competition regime that supports sustainable development and strengthens its role with the CARICOM single market and economy. Concerns have been mounting over the past several days following reports of significant increases in trade license fees in certain municipalities across the country. The issue stems from a new trade license regime that was recently passed in the House of Representatives but has not yet been approved in the Senate and therefore is not yet law. Despite this, reports have surfaced suggesting that elements of the new regulations are already being implemented in some areas, with business owners claiming that the revised structure reflects steep increases in fees. With public discourse intensifying, Director of Local Government Clifford King moved to clarify the situation today, emphasizing that the new regime has not yet come into effect. King made it clear that until the legislation is passed in the Senate and formally enacted, the new trade license framework cannot be legally implemented. He acknowledged the concerns raised by business owners, but stressed that any application of a new fee structure at this stage would be premature.
Trade licensing boards to do assessments for trade licensing. The other point I want to make to you is that there is an appeals process. If you are aggrieved by an assessment, the law provides for you to appeal that assessment. Unfortunately, we live in a culture and a time where people tend to think that if I make noise in the public, that will make the problem go away. And that's really unfortunate. They are what we call valuation appeals board that addresses issues relating to appeals. But it means that you need to spend the effort to go through the process. It means that you have to spend the effort to engage with the local authority to understand why. I don't think that any local authority, any government in its right mind want to arbitrarily charge people undue and unnecessary fees. If that turns out to be the case, you as the recipient needs to know what your rights are and you need to exercise those rights. Go through the appeals process so that an independent group of persons could either uphold your appeal or deny your appeal.
Addressing the structure of the proposed regime, King explained that the update system is designed to create a more equitable and transparent method for calculating trade license fees. Under the new framework, fees will be determined primarily by the square footage of a business establishment along with the specific category of business activity.
Along with this new legislation, there's a whole set of regulations. And the regulations will speak very clearly to the different business types and what is to be measured. So as business holders, you will have access to, if I am in the business of accommodation, and in the new legislation, it speaks to 20 categories of business. And one of those categories is accommodation. So if you're in the accommodation business, the regulations will tell you what is to be measured, what is to be calculated as part of the productive footprint. If you're in the business of retail, if you're in the business of wholesale, if you're in the business of utilities, if you're in the business of rentals, the regulations will tell you what is it that you look for to be measured. Now, this is public information. Everybody will have access to that.
He further highlighted that the legislation includes several safeguards aimed at protecting businesses, particularly small enterprises. Not all businesses will be required to apply for a trade license under the new regime. Certain small businesses will be exempt, a measure intended to reduce the burden on micro and small entrepreneurs.
Not available publicly. The legislation is, but the regulations no. But those will be in short order, be available publicly. They are available at the towns and city councils because we are anticipating the rollout, so persons can access that information for clarity. And even at the ministry, we take calls every day. People ask us these questions about the calculation for the urban space. In the rural space, it's very straightforward. It's a flat scheme. You must have a particular productive footprint size, and it begins at 600 square feet. And then it's by tier. So if you're below 600 square feet, you don't have to worry about trade licensing. If you're a peddler on the street, if you are online business and you operate from the rural space, you are not obligated to pay for a trade license or apply for a trade license.
So you don't have to register if it is that you have below 600?
Yes, you don't. The law is not obligating you to register or to apply.
Oh, wow.
But we still have persons who have very small businesses in the rural space that come and ask for a trade license because many of them use it as a source of funds document for the banks. The bank is seeing these deposits made into your account, and so what do you do? How do you legitimately earn these income? And so a lot of these small businesses that are under the 600 square feet threshold come and ask for a trade license, and because there is no rural scheme, they come to the nearest town or city to ask for that trade license certificate.
For now, officials are urging business owners to seek clarification from their local authorities and to remain informed as the bill moves through the legislative process. In a move to strengthen education and community engagement, Prime Minister John Briceño visited 3 primary schools in Belize City today. The school included St. Joseph, St. Ignatius, and Unity Presbyterian. During his tour, Prime Minister Briceño met with students, teachers, and school administrators, emphasizing the importance of quality education and community involvement. He inspected facilities, discussed ongoing educational activities, and encouraged students to pursue their academic goals.
Well, what happened is that I came here with the Reverend a few months ago. I had lunch with him and he was inviting me to come and visit the school. And I said, I'd love to come. And so that happened sometime, I think, towards the end of last year. And so about 2 weeks ago, they said, hey, if I'll still be able to come. I said, of course. So I said this Wednesday, and then I decided to be able to go to some other school. So it's something that I enjoy being with children, the joy of being with them, and then at the same time speaking with the teachers and the principals and checking with them some of the challenges that they're facing.
And there's more news after the break. Stay tuned.
Registering the debt of a person is a crucial legal process done through the Civil Registry Department and Vital Statistics Unit, which allows you to obtain an official debt certificate. The new Civil Registry and Vital Statistics System, CRVS, makes it easy. Register online or visit an office countrywide. The debt registration process involves providing the necessary details about the deceased and the details of their debt. Register a debt promptly to avoid any delays or additional fees for late registration. Who can register a debt? Any person with an original medical certificate for the cause of debt, MCCD, issued by the medical facility certifying the debt. The new CRVS, digitally connecting citizens to all vital statistics services. Visit crvs.gov.pz to complete the debt registration process with ease and care.
No matter how green the grass is over there, you belong here with us.
Welcome to the overworld.
Anything you can dream about here? Some things are gonna come out about me. I can't live with it no more.
Put a track lock on itself. Who moves, I want to know.
From whiskeys and wines to elegantly crafted cocktails. Paired with charcuterie boards and perfectly seasoned steak bites, and much more. Perfect for celebrations, quiet nights, and every special occasion in between. 7 Notes Wine and Spirits, where every sip hits the right note.
The government of Belize celebrated a major milestone in its ocean governance journey with the hosting of the Ocean Country Partnership Program OCPP Forum in Belmopan. As the only country in this hemisphere to benefit from this bilateral partnership between the United Kingdom and Belize, the nation stands at the forefront of regional effort to advance healthy and resilient oceans. Held from Wednesday, February 4, 2026 to Friday, February 6, 2026, the 3-day event brought together government leaders, regional and international partners, scientists, youth representatives, and civil society stakeholders to reflect on the past 5 years of meaningful cooperation and to energize a next wave of collection ocean action. Over the course of the forum, participants engaged in ministerial discussions, interactive technical working sessions, and youth-focused dialogues, highlighting the achievements made possible through cooperation under the OCPP. These sessions explored financing Belize's ocean economy, strengthening partnerships, showcasing impact stories, and demonstrating how science-led technical assistance from the UK has supported Belize across marine conservation, marine pollution reduction, and climate resilience. Yesterday, the Honorable Ferenza Marin, Jr., Minister of National Defense and Border Security, conducted an official visit to the Southern Tactical Area of Responsibility, reaffirming the government's commitment to national security and frontline readiness. He was accompanied by Commander Belize Defense Force Brigadier General Anthony Velasquez, Commandant Belize Coast Guard Rear Admiral Gregory Soberanis, and the commanding officers of the 1st and 2nd Infantry Battalions, Lieutenant Colonel Ermil Ko and Lieutenant Colonel Justo Velis. The visit provided an opportunity to engage directly with troops on the ground, assess operational conditions, and reinforce support for the men and women safeguarding Belize's sovereignty. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Thursday, February 12th, here on CTV3 News and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/ctv3belizenews or our YouTube channel at CTV3 News BZ. From all of us here at CTV3, thank you for watching and listening. Good night.